Hello, everyone. So, this is my attempt at my first episode of my very own podcast. Let's talk about books. I have been going to be uploading these weekly onto my YouTube channel, probably every Friday around lunchtime. I'm going to be spending the rest of the week after I've recorded this designing a logo, and I'll probably do a community post, obviously, to let people know on the channel that it'll be going up. Um, in general, I think on these podcasts, they're probably going to last around 30 minutes or 20 minutes, depending on how much I have to talk about. I think I'll share with you all basically the books that I'm currently reading, what I think of those books, any news around books or fantasy, or just general movies that I can think of to share with you. And then what I would really love is for other people, if that's family, friends, other YouTuber, other booktubers, other book related influencers, I suppose, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, who want to come on and chat about books and maybe tell a bit of their story. That's also a possibility. Um, I just think I see a lot of other YouTubers doing, or specifically booktubers, doing kind of like a weekly update as a video, and they're usually maybe 25 to 30 minutes long. I think I think that's good. I really like that idea, and there's a couple of YouTubers that I specifically watch that I really enjoy watching those videos. So I thought maybe I should do something similar. But I thought a better way for people maybe on my channel specifically to listen to that or watch that would be in short bursts or just at their own leisure. So I thought if I recorded it as audio onto my YouTube channel, then people can listen to it on their in their earphones when they're doing something or just in their own time. They don't have to sit and just watch a video of me speaking for 30 minutes. And possibly in future, maybe when I have maybe done 10 episodes, that's the goal now, is to do 10 episodes over 10 weeks. I could maybe start clipping them up with specific topics if people want, and uploading them in shorter bursts. But it's 2023 now, and my goal is obviously continue growing my channel, but I also want to produce different things on the channel instead of, at the moment, the channel, I make shorts, I make long form videos, I post on the community tab a lot. I do the odd live stream, which I definitely want to do more live streams. If you were on the live stream that I did, on, well, the day I'm recording this is the Monday. If you're on that live stream today, thank you very much for joining that live stream. I really appreciate it. It's always great fun having you just come on and like say where you're from and what time it is, because it's just crazy to think that somebody, for example, someone was on the podcast was from Australia, and it's like way ahead for or way behind for them. So it just, for me it was morning and for them it was evening, I think. So it's just really that I just find that really interesting and really, I'm trying to think of the correct word, outstanding, that they are away, that far away, and they're watching me on their phone. Um, but anyway, back to what I was talking about. I think a podcast is a new form of content that I haven't put on my channel. It's not that it's a new form of content. Podcasts have been around for years. But I think podcasts would be an interesting thing for me to make on my channel for my listeners or my watchers to have a look at. And obviously, I want this is the first episode, so it's going to be rough, but I want people to criticize what they think I did wrong, or what they think I can definitely improve. And if they think maybe 30 minutes is too long or 30 minutes isn't enough. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how you react to this when it's published. My dog is currently sitting across from me at the moment, staring out, and I'm afraid she might bark and it might come into the audio, so I'm going to be devastated when that happens. I digress. The books that I'm currently reading are The Winners by Frederick Bachman, Babel by R.F. Kuang, IQ 84 by Haruki Murakami, and The Ember Blade by Chris, and I've forgotten his second name, so I feel terrible. But those are the 4 books I am currently co-reading at the moment. And usually I don't read 4 books at the one time. I usually read 1 or 2. And usually it becomes 2 instead of 1 because the one book I am reading isn't holding my attention, or I've gotten sick of it. Not that the book is bad, I've just gotten sick of it, especially if it's a very long fantasy book. And if you agree with this or you disagree with my thoughts on this, then let me know in the comments. But when you open a 700-page book and you maybe spend a couple of days reading it and you've only gotten to maybe 300, 400 pages just because of life and our responsibilities that people may have with school, work, looking after people, you can kind of get a bit sick of it, or it feels like it's taking forever to finish the book. So you're tempted then to start a new book. So the way I usually do it is I have one long fantasy book going, and then maybe a smaller fiction novel or crime novel, something that's fast paced. So if I get sick of the current fantasy book, I'll read a bit of it, and then that'll kind of give me a break from the fantasy, and then I'm really excited then to get back into the fantasy novel. So that's kind of what happened when I was reading The Ember Blade just after Christmas. Now, I did read the 3rd trilogy in the Tale of the Elderling series, which the reviews for those books will be coming out on the channel. If they're not already out by the time this is released, they should be out. And those are big fantasy books, all in the 600-page mark. So I read them back to back to back. And that possibly led to me having a bit of a fantasy burnout, which a lot of booktubers agree is something that does happen. So I jumped into The Ember Blade next instead of maybe taking a break for a couple of days, and I'm up to page 250 in that book, and it's great. It's really, really good. It's very... The author, Chris, I think, doesn't hide from the fact that he's taken inspiration from The Lord of the Rings, and who can blame him? Obviously, The Lord of the Rings is one of the best fantasy novels out there, so to take inspiration from that and mold it into his own story, that's great. And I'm 250 pages in, and I am loving it. It starts off slow, but with every new fantasy novel, most of them start off slow because they're having to build up a whole new world and their characters and their settings and the way these characters act and the history that leads to them acting a certain way. So whereas other normal fiction books can just jump right in, it's based on in our world, so you understand it. But anyway, so it started off a bit slow for the first 100 pages or so, and then it got got a bit quicker. There was a bit of a quicker pace when the characters changed location, and then now the cast of characters has expanded, so it's very, very good. But unfortunately, I got a bit sick of it, and I picked up Babel, and I've read the first 100 pages of Babel, and it is amazing. And I read Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, the first book specifically. I didn't read the second or third because I just couldn't. I just did not want to read them. And Poppy War isn't a bad book. It just wasn't for me. So when I heard that Babel was announced then last year they were coming out, I was like, I don't know. And then I saw a lot of videos by the likes of Daniel Green teasing the cover and the amount of work that she was putting into the book. I just thought, you know what, I'll give it another go. And I did, and yeah, it's really, really good. If you haven't picked it up, it's like a dark academic book, so I definitely think it's worth giving a read. And I haven't really read much dark academic books, so I don't know if it's a good one to start or it's not a good one to start. So I will let you know in a future episode when I've finished the book if it's worth reading. If it's worth reading from the aspect of it being your first dark academic book. All the characters are very intriguing, different. It's based in England, but they're not all from England. The characters are all from all over the world, and they've been brought to this school. They've been brought to the Babel school to learn this knowledge that isn't shared with everyone. It's in the 1800s. so people didn't live as long back then and stuff. So it's all very interesting, and you can clearly see the research and work put into the book. So it's really enjoyable. It's understandable why it was rated one of the best books last year. So I'll give you an update on it. And then I had to travel to see family. Oh, I think my dog's on the park. I had to no, shush. I had to travel. My dog's called Charlie, by the way, for any listeners. She's a miniature schnauzer, and she is thinking about barking because there's children walking past. But anyway, yeah. So I had to travel down. Shush now, shush. I had to travel down south to see family of mine from where I live, and the book I decided for the long journey there and back was IQ 84 by Murakami, and wow, it is a long book. It is 1,300 pages long, and it's kind of set in an alternate world to ourselves. I think the main characters start in our world, but then they go over to this other world where there's two moons, and things have happened in the past that they don't remember happening. Very interesting. In my opinion, possibly the best work by this author, and I've read close to 10 novels now by him, so I feel like I can give that sort of opinion. Though people can disagree. It's one of his best works, but it's not my favourite so far. But then I've still got around 800 pages to read, so it could become my favourite band by the end. But it's quite quick. It's quite fast paced book. So for the journeys on the trains to visit my family, they went by in a flash. So maybe if you're going on a train journey anytime soon, IQ 84 might be the book for you to pick up. I will give a review on it. Something I don't know what to do with this podcast is, should I review the books that I'm reading? Or should I just keep those for normal videos? Or should I do both? I don't know. I have read a lot that people who listen to podcasts aren't the same people who might watch your long form videos if it's all on the same channel. So who knows, you might listen to these podcast episodes and not watch my long form videos. So let me know if you want me to do reviews of the books on this. And then the final book that I'm currently reading is The Winners by Fredrik Backman, which is the third book in the Beartown trilogy. And Fredrik also has written A Man Called Ove. So you possibly have seen the movie that released on Disney Plus with Tom Hanks as Ove. So yeah, I plan to read A Man Called Ove at some point, but currently I'm halfway through The Winners and I'm planning to read it for an hour or so after this episode is finished recording. It is great. It is outstanding. These books deal with some heavy topics though. I'll just give you a general background on what these novels about. It's based in an ice hockey town called Beartown, just outside of Toronto, a couple of hours outside of Toronto in Canada, and there's an opposition town called Head, and basically these two towns have hockey teams and they're bitter rivals, and something terrible happens to this young girl in this family in Beartown, and that's the first novel, and it's all about that, and it's all about how the people in the town deal with it and how they deal with the victim and the predator. And then the second novel is kind of the backdrop of all that happened then, and a bit of time has passed. They focus more on the hockey then and the players, and more characters from around the town are kind of brought in and what their role was to play in the first book as well as the second, and then the third one, and there's been a small time jump of around 2 years, and yeah, something bad has happened now and the characters are having to deal with it, and it's just ripping. The way Fredrik writes, he has it's a different character POV for every chapter, and there's such a large cast. Yes, it does rotate a bit, but you might read a character POV of one character and not be without a character again for like 10 to 15 chapters, but the story still progresses through the characters and the way that they're seeing it from their perspective. It is very interesting. I'm sure there's other authors out there who write the same way, but so far Frederick is the first one to do it for me. Obviously in fantasy you have POVs, but usually it's a rotation of 3 or 4. This is like 30. There could be up to 30 characters. But anyway, that is what I am currently reading. What are you all currently reading? Are you interested in any of those books that I've just mentioned? Please let me know. I definitely want to hear about it in the comments. And I currently on Netflix, I'm watching Alice in Borderland. It's very like Squid Game, if you've seen that. If you're a younger listener, maybe I wouldn't recommend those shows yet, as there's a lot of violence in them. But if you're over the age of 18 and you're into violence, then yeah, definitely check them out. Outstanding shows. Season 2 just came out for Alice in Borderland, and it's upped the budget a lot, so it's very good. And I'm also watching Castlevania, which I wish I had started years ago when it first came out. I don't know why I didn't watch it, because it's something I would definitely have been interested in. But I've got 4 seasons to watch, and I think I might do a review on my channel for it when I'm finished. But it is amazing. What are you guys watching at the moment? Anything I should definitely pick up? I still haven't seen Avatar. And it's like 2/3 of the way through January at this point when this episode releases. So I could end up missing it and not seeing it in the cinema, which would be really devastating. So I'll have to try and see it. But yeah, I think from the perspective of fantasy news that I can think of off the top of my head, I think Scott Lynch is releasing short novel. He's releasing novellas for his series. The Lives of Locke Lamora is the first book. I can't really say the name of the series because I think it'll affect the channel. But yeah, he's releasing some novellas, which is good because he's planning then to release another novel in that series. And I think, from the Golden Globes, House of Dragon won Best Show. Can't not believe it. I think it was always going to happen. House of Dragon was outstanding, spectacular, great, amazing. Can't really think of any other words to describe it. If you haven't watched it, give it a go. But yeah, my personal goals this week are to try and finish as many of these books that I've started, to try and get back to just reading one book at a time. And I aim to go to the gym 5 times this week. I've been today. Hopefully by the time this episode has come out, I've been 5 times. Because I didn't have such a great week last week because I was away traveling, but that's life. Are you guys doing any exercise or fitness at the moment? Are you doing anything like kayaking or swimming or axe throwing? I don't know, you tell me. But we're now at 18 minutes and I think I'll finish here. So thank you all for listening. Any ideas on how I can improve this, or if the audio doesn't sound good, let me know in the comments, guys. I appreciate all feedback. Hit that like button if you like this, and going off your feedback, that will maybe be the main decision of whether or not I will do another episode. But it's always worth giving things a go, and I've given it a go, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll see you all soon. Thanks for listening.